Hello everyone, this is John Oye with Severe Service Specialists, or Triple S as many of you know us. Today we're going to troubleshoot an air actuated Mogas package. In this case we have a unitorque actuator, a unitorque manual gear override, and a bracket and coupling and a Mogas valve. You want to start off with your basics, okay? First thing, obviously check with the plant, make sure that you have permission to cycle the valve, you got all your clearances and lockout tagout. More importantly, make sure you're wearing your proper safety equipment. So once all that's good and you're ready to go, and you get out to the valve, the first thing you want to do is check your air supply. We have 80 psi air supply on here, so I know that my air supply isn't the issue. I don't have any air leaks, so we're going to move on to the next step. Basically, you want to check with the plant and make sure that the process conditions hasn't changed, so we know that we're dealing with the same differential pressure. If the valve was originally sized for 2,000 psi differential, you want to make sure that that's still what you're dealing with or less. If the differential pressure has changed, then your actuator may not be big enough, so that may be your issue. We've confirmed that differential pressure is not our issue today. So air supply is good, our process conditions hadn't changed, so next thing we want to go to is make sure that our gearbox is disengaged. All right. On your gearbox, there is a tab that'll tell you engaged or disengaged, and on these unitorques, if your lever's all the way down and it won't move, you're disengaged. If it would be engaged, this would be rolled up to the top here, and that would tell you that you're engaged. As well, you can free spin your hand wheel, and as long as your hand wheel is free spinning, you should be disengaged. So we're good there. It's not air supply, it's not the gearbox. Then the next scenario that we want to check is our solenoid. All right, we know that we've got power on it and it went closed, so we know that we have the proper voltage, but sometimes we run into a situation where someone has used the override on the solenoid, and that's this little plunger in here. And so we want to make sure that that plunger has fallen back out, okay? As long as that plunger is back out, then the solenoid should work properly. Sometimes when they use it, if they shove it in and turn it a little bit, that plunger will get stuck, and then basically your solenoid won't work. So I've confirmed solenoid, the plunger is out on this one, so we're good there. The next thing you want to move to is work your way down, all right? You want to make sure that your connection between your valve and your gearbox and actuator is all still intact. We haven't busted any keys or anything like that. On these packages, we use a square drive. So chance of shearing that square drive is pretty slim. There are some actuators that we may have keyed connections here, so that is definitely something to be aware of. So if you get to this situation and everything's working from here down and you're still not moving, then really the only thing we have to go to is internally in the actuator, okay? So at that case, what I would do is take the actuator off. First, disconnect your power, disconnect your air, take the actuator off, hook your power and air back up, and try to cycle it on its own. If the actuator's moving, then your problem may be in the gearbox or further down. If your actuator isn't moving, then we'll need to take that in and have that serviced. We know the actuator's working properly, we got all of our air, we're still in automatic mode, everything seems to be working fine. We've got good connection between our bracket and coupling and the gears, and we've got good connection here. This is a keyed connection from the coupling to the valve, and there's 2 keys in there, so we want to make sure that that's working as well. As long as your keys are in good shape and you haven't sheared keys, the only thing left then would be internal of the valve, okay? For that, we would have to cut the valve out and assess it from there. But that's the steps you need to follow. Those are the things that can go wrong with these packages. Work your way through it and you should be good to go.